Alright, hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome back to Scrap Mechanics. So I'm doing this on my own, today, anyway. Don't do solo very often, really at all. Mainly because this game is way more fun in multiplayer. But today I'm going to be working on something, so I'm sure you guys have maybe noticed that I've had issues in the past playing this game. And, like, I'm always trying to get the guys to do, Rock'em Sock'em Robots with me. And, you might have just heard Shell coming in the door, but she was talking about it the other day. And she's like, you should make Rock'em Sock'em Robots. And I'm like, I've tried. But every time I try, you know, usually it ends up just being us goofing around and not really making anything, like, particularly functional. So I figured, let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can make on my own. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna undo some of these. Whoops. I'm really bad at laying out grids like this. Really wish you could actually do like a line paint with this tool. Oh well. That should be perfect. Let's do ultralights straight up. I don't know how tall I want to make these, but I want to make them relatively tall. I also need... What kind of wheels do we even want to be rolling with these things? Realistically, we want them to be functional. Okay, so we've got, like, big wheels and stuff. I mean, we got some stupidly big wheels. If we wanted to go, like this... Might not be bad. Might be a little, short, though. Maybe? Let's try 5x3. It feels like these wheels are probably going to be the best. So if it's going to be... Five by 3, something like that. Gives you a little bit of leeway. Maybe you can put something else. What do you want to have? That's a little centrally located, though. We'd probably want to move them out a little bit. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make effectively a rolling tower. It will need to steer. It will need to be tippable. So I'm gonna be making almost this entire thing out of ultralight blocks. Oh, interesting. I apparently didn't need to make the holes as big as I did. Well, that's okay. Let's see. There we go. A weird remix. I should probably make sure that they're all in the same section. Yeah, looks like we're good. Okay, yeah, so we're just gonna have this base platform with the center pole. And effectively what I'm just gonna do is, effectively what I'm gonna do, add the necessary suspension glitches to get this thing to roll on its own. And then we're gonna kind of ignore this section. You know, just maybe encase it, just for the sake of. Entirely in ultralight blocks, because we want this to be super light. But yeah, what I want to do is make a base that everybody can use. You know, me, Bird, Effie, Batbeard, so on and so forth. You know, a base that everybody can use, so that we don't have to wait for them to kind of hack job together a non-functional machine and then get angry about it. And this way, if we're lucky, I can make it so that people can you know, still customize it. You know, I might have, like, arm mounts, or maybe some, like, example arms. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna have arms on these things. I'm not even sure how I'm gonna have these Rock'em Sock'em, necessarily. Like, usually with Rock'em Sock'em, you give your vehicle a weak point. The problem is, what's that weak point going to be? Do we have a sensor? That, oh wow. Those have some pretty ridiculous ones. Okay. Like, do we put a sensor there that makes it so your vehicle, you know, starts making noises when you've gotten killed? It's tempting, but it's kind of boring too. So let's keep going. Ah, right. That's what I was looking for. We want to have a seat. You know what? Maybe I was kind of on the right track there. Here. We also got to get the light blocks. I'll do this for the time being. I'm honestly not sure how many suspension glitches we're even going to want to shove on this thing. Suffice to say the answer is probably not that many, because they're going to be real light. So why don't we actually just do 2 for the time being? And I got to make sure I use light blocks for this. Yeah, I'll encase it in... I'll do the entire thing in light. I'm not entirely sure what parts have to be ultralight only, but it's better that we don't find out and lose this build. To be fair, I could save it really fast, but still. Okay. Now, honestly, we could just do the driver's saddle. Do we have any of these that are ultra lightweight? Not necessarily. I've always been a fan of the motorcycle seat. Let's take a look. We've got some of these. Okay, so these are 2 only. Yeah, I've always been a fan of this one. It's a little wiggly, but it works. And looks nice. We've also got, like, the driving pillows and mattress and drivable saddle and whatnot. Or, like, the invisible driver's seat and stuff. Also, super tempting. We've got a lot of them. I'm just going to leave it like that for the time being. Okay, let's fit a just 1x1 engine in the back. Which has been moved, which means it's here, right? Yes. Okay. Huh. Apparently I can attach that to the seat. We don't really want to do that. But yeah, so effectively, we just want to make this base here, make it movable. And then we're gonna add some kind of, like, armature on top. Ah, right. Way too slow. It's got some speed. It's not terribly unstable. I was considering using stuff like suspension. And I generally prefer to avoid suspension. If possible. Mainly because, suspensions just have awful luck. With, like, lagging the game. We should also consider making, like, cockpits and stuff. I might leave that as a open alternative for the guys. Okay, so let's close this off. I don't know how I'm gonna leave the, like, how I'm gonna do an entry point. Maybe I'll just do something that, maybe I'll do just, like, a basic hole or something. Just leave the back open. Not sure. It's not like dwarves need big holes to get out of anyway. Okay, so effectively we have a really dumb-looking, awkward rolling cube. It's not much, but it functions. Okay. So now what do we want to do? It'd be nice if you could actually reach the, internals here. You know what? Let's make this a bit shorter. What I think I'm gonna do is cut this down to some degree. Come back up. Okay. Really wish this game had, like a flying creative mode. Always floors me that it doesn't. But yeah, what I'm gonna do is just give it a bit of a layering effect. Not because I need to, mainly just because it'll look nice. Okay. This is probably the center. Yep, looks like it. Okay. So what we're gonna want to do on top here is have a ring bearing. Let's actually have the, let's have it stick up a bit more. I might make this prettier in some way, shape, or form. But I haven't really thought about how I'm going to do that yet. Do you want to keep going up one more layer? Probably. Huh. It's interesting working around these things. There we go. Okay. So we got that. Then we put this ring here. What do we do beyond that? Do we want to have one of the big pipe segments? I mean, technically I can put whatever I want here. Well, it's 3x1, correct? I think so. The reason why I'm using a wheel here is it means we can do this. And it shouldn't impact. What I probably should have done, though, is get rid of these corner blocks. What we want to do, come back around. We should have, some kind of, like, rounded edge. Oh, right, it's the gray rounded edge. I don't want to use those, though. Okay. Maybe I'll just do glass? Yeah, we'll do glass or something. The reason why I don't want to use the normal ones is because they're heavy. We want to use as many light blocks as we possibly can manage here. So I guess let's go up and grab the paintable glass block as well. Okay. Oops. And I'm just going to paint this black, probably. There we go. Okay, so ideally this shouldn't interfere with everything. And now I can have a rotatey midpoint. Technically we have two bearings here. I might lock one down with the controller. I might not. Let's go back up. Let's keep making the torso on this thing. Effectively, we're just going to want it to go up like one more layer. The problem is, what I want to do is actually have, like, a comical amount of bearings in here. And have, like, the entire center rotate a bunch. But I think that's going to be something for me to do. On mine. And I'm not gonna force Batbeard or anybody to do that. The one problem is this is going to be a very heavily, load-bearing, well, bearing. Which is a little bit concerning, honestly. Because usually bearings don't handle that weight that well. I tried using the bigger bearing type, but I actually don't know if those are any sturdier. Than otherwise. Okay. Yeah, the problem here is I'm gonna have to just keep making it taller. At this point, I'm just going for style points. Don't question it. Okay. Does this lift go any higher? It kinda doesn't really. That sucks. Okay. Also wish there was symmetry mode in this game. Symmetry mode would be so nice. Symmetry and creative mode. Like full-on creative mode, not this version. Okay. Yeah, I'm tempted to actually put some bearings in here along the sides so the entire torso can, like, tip forward or backwards and stuff. Again, another consideration, probably going to keep that out of this version. Okay, so what do we want to do here? Because we've got this. Like, I don't want them to be too tall, because they're going to tip real easy. So, like, kind of halfway tempted to just put, like, a quote-unquote head on here. Okay, let's go back and grab this wheel again. It looks nice. For what I'm doing here. Probably... Is there a 3x2? 3x2 might work a little bit better. There's the 5x2. Yep, 3x2. Okay. Let's get rid of this. We want to have, like, a little bit of a neckline on this thing. And so these tires, not as nice looking, will also get the job done. But effectively what I'm going to do is put a control seat up there for the dwarves to sit in. Realistically, it's probably just going to be an invisible driver's seat. Because, yeah, if you notice, I have that. Makes it so you can't see the dwarf at all. Meaning, we can have dwarves driving these things without being visible. And they'll just be sitting at the top on a block or something. And that'll mean they can get in. I don't know necessarily if we need heads. Ah, damn it. I don't know necessarily if we need heads on these. But it seems appropriate. Even if I don't really have, like, a direct plan for them. I'm just mostly leaving the bases for everything. Let's see. And this is probably going to be a two-part episode of Solo, if you guys are wondering, like, where's Bird? Where's so-and-so? The answer is, they'll be back. Bird's currently at a wedding, so I haven't been able to do anything with him. And, I mean, Effie and Batbeard are kind of around, but, let's see, do we want to decorate this? I kind of don't. Like, I'm gonna decorate it a little bit, I think. You know, let people kind of get an idea of what they can possibly do with this. I'm gonna get a little bit taller. There we go. Now let's replace the back one with the invisible seat. Let's get rid of this awkward-looking thing. Oh, right, there's another invisible seat on there. Okay. And let's paint the whole thing gray. Go along with my battle castle from last time. I'm probably going to decorate mine more than this. Might also consider making the top much bigger. Or the base smaller, now that I'm looking at it. Like, I'm actually really liking this design, but it's too small. What do you guys think? I know nobody's actually watching this because I'm not streaming this. I'm just thinking on my end. Because the problem is, the bases are going to bump into each other before these guys fight. Do we make them chunkier? I'm feeling chunkier. Okay, let's add some serious beef to this dude. Cause ain't no way this guy's riding into battle like this. He is too small. And too flimsy. Okay, need to get it a bit closer. Take a look around. Yeah, the other thing... no, I probably shouldn't advertise... Oh, frack. Okay, made a mistake. Cut the head off. That's okay. We don't need the head anyway. Not yet. We'll get the head on later. We gotta finish making this sucker a bunch bigger. Yeah, do we want them to be that big? Probably. If they're going to be clobber-nodding into each other. Oh! One of the considerations here is... Okay, I'm going to actually delete my work for a bit. What I'm going to do is actually make them kind of wide. Maybe, and not as... Let's take that off. Add 3 to that side. 3 to that side. I really wish there was stuff like helium blocks or something. But as long as we're using ultralight, this should work. Okay. Do you want to do this? Yeah, we do want to do this much. Okay. Yeah, eventually I'll have to pare down the innards as much as I can. Because we do not want these guys to be, Is that right? Kind of looks like it. Okay, there we go. So, going back with our previous design. Want to do something like that. I want it to kind of look like it was a torso-ish. Even if it's kind of not. And this gives us a good, this gives us a great basis for like, shoulders. Sort of. Cut that in a bit. Oops. I guess I gotta cut that. Okay, there we go. 2, 3. I mean, obviously, this is going to require a fair amount of configuration on everybody's part, including mine. Like, I really don't want this to be, I really don't want this to be much more than just a framework for people to work with. Because if everybody's using kind of the same base, but they arm them differently, we'll probably end up with a much more interesting style. I might also actually pare down the base some more, too. Because what we can do is, hang out in a... Well, I guess seeing as we don't need, like, a hefty internal cockpit. Yeah. Okay, let's think about this. I guess what I can do is stand on the internals and keep working on things. Okay. Screw it. Okay. So we've got that. Part of the problem is, like, we don't have any bind points here. And ideally, I'd like to keep this, somewhat stable. Like, if somebody accidentally cuts off a block, they don't just cut the entire thing loose, as we ran into earlier. Okay, there we go. It looks like it spins really easily. Like, I bumped into it, and it spun around, which is a good sign. Let's see. Next question is, do we... Yeah, I'll just widen the waist a bunch. Sort of? Actually, if I do that... Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm just going to extend this system out a bit. We can actually have it extend down a little bit further. I'm afraid of the corners catching awkwardly and messing up during a turn. Like, obviously, this thing has a lot of, like, breaking points where things can go kind of bad. But that's kind of the point of the build. And if that's the case, then we'll just catch it in testing or something. Or everybody will just make their own workarounds. I'm definitely not going to give them a perfect product in any means. Okay. Because that would make it too easy. But, okay, there we go. Yeah, so this shouldn't catch any of the exteriors. Gives it kind of a little bit more formidable of a looking, formidable looking of a waist. Let's go in here. I'm going to delete the engine. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to have this extend to the sky. And you know what? Let's actually construct kind of an internal wheel well system. Because, ideally, if a lot of this stuff is accessible from the outside, it might actually make it better. Might not, but, I don't know, why not? We're here. We're doing this. Okay. And yeah, what I'll do is just kind of extend around all of these parts. Oops. Apparently I never filled in this well particularly well. Nor this one. Oh, I see. These are the tires I added after the fact. And we are using the wrong shade of gray. Because yes, black is technically gray. Okay, there we go. So what I'm gonna do is just convert this around. Oops. Might make it a little prettier, but I also might not. Okay. There we go. Looking good so far. As long as I don't chop off this central point, we should be fine. Because, yeah, this will give us a very thin, workable base. Keep it tall so it's unstable. And make things look rather slick. I think. Probably. Okay, I got it perfect. I think. Yeah, looks like I got it perfectly. I'll let the guys add more of a skirt if they want to. Okay, I think for the time being, let's cut some of this loose. What the? Must have been on the wrong block. Yeah, so we definitely don't want to... We definitely don't want to cut too much more than what I have, though. Too much of this and this whole thing comes crashing down on my head, then I have to weld everything together. And seeing as I don't have a buddy to help me with the welding trick if need be, that'd be a sad day. You know, I've never played a game like Scrap Mechanic before, where I can spend half an hour playing it and not even notice. I've already been on this thing for half an hour working. Could not tell you that I had. I looked over and I'm like, oh, I wonder how long I've been. Oh, half an hour already. I try and shoot for half an hour episodes just because, I don't know, when I grew up I like to watch, you know, children's TV shows. Digimon. God, I hate the Pokemon show. I've already had my rant in the sun for that one. But, you know, I loved watching cartoons as a kid, and they were always half an hour long. Hour long feels like a commitment. You know, it's hard. You can't fit that in anywhere. It's just like, well, From here, I guess. Okay. And you know, it's just not easy watching a show that long. Part of the reason why I don't watch stuff like Game of Thrones that much, for example. Apart from the fact that, you know, Shell doesn't want me to, and I'm okay with that. It's, I think, a little bit too dramatic for my tastes.
It's not that I don't want you to. I don't want to see it.
Shell doesn't want to see it. Okay, there we go. Well, whatever. Point remains not really watching Game of Thrones for a myriad of reasons. But, namely, like, an hour-long episode is hard to commit to. I've been trying to watch Luke Cage since it came out, and oof, has not been easy following it. Because, I mean, those hour-long episodes are hard. And I will admit, I will do an hour-long of Scrap Mechanic occasionally. But only occasionally. Okay, let me go back up. Just gonna paint these wheel wells. There we go. I want this thing to be nice and symmetrical. Actually, we want to do it from this angle up here. There we go. Okay. There we go. So, now we've got kind of the basis for our thing. It looks much smaller, much lighter, much easier to get into. If we need to, it's pretty easy to get to the suspension glitches. It's really easy to get to more. You know, I might, you know, do some more designery things like this. Yeah, that actually looks quite nice. You know, just a little bit of something to make it look less, I don't know. Might also move the wheel wells over a little bit so they frame it a bit better. Not too much, but enough. Yeah, this seems like it's gonna look nice. The next episode, we're gonna get this thing battle-worthy. But for now, I just wanted to get a framework for the future. Okay, yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna leave the back like that. It looks nice. Let's see, so we've moved that down a bit. You know what? Let's move it down a bit more. I really will have to cut some blocks out of the center for this sucker. Because he's not bad, but I've got a lot of spare blocks in there that I can probably cut out relatively easily. And keep it looking quite nice. Okay. That's looking good. Kind of a vertical ziggurat thing. If you want to have it, if the guys want to have it like bend down, they totally can. There's a couple of points where things can be cut out. The central pillar looks pretty slick. Currently, we're just going for a yellow and black color scheme just because black makes it a bit easier to mark things out. Okay, so last deal. I think we're good. Let's get that head back on. Actually gonna bring it in a bit so we have less room to maneuver. Right, the front goes a little bit far, but that's fine. Let's actually let's actually switch to, no, we don't want to do glass, do we? We wanted to do something like this. There we go. Okay, it's still gonna have a small head, but let's be honest. Who cares? Okay. Probably should actually extend these up a little bit further. Oh, that's fine. Did I do that right? I have no idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, if this is wrong, then whatever. It's front heavy. Oh, I see what I did. Actually, I don't. I do and I don't. I added too many blocks on one side-ish. What we want to do... I guess it's not going to have as small of a head as I thought it was going to have. Okay. So let's cut blocks off from the internals for a second. Oh, I hate doing this. Always makes me a little skittish. Okay. So there we go. 1, 2. Okay. It seems to be working. Put that there. Everything's kind of in order. Oh, hi. What, okay, gotta drop this side down. Guess he is gonna have a large enough head. Might want to make it a bit taller, but we'll not... I'm not gonna do that today. I'll do that later. Again. Oops. We're gonna have plenty of time to be working on these at a later date. Okay. And let's just give him a comparatively dark head. Gray works. I don't know. I'll paint these more later. Aesthetics will be for a different time. Yeah, the head's a bit short. I don't care that much. Oh, right. I forgot. Most important part. I cut off the seat. I didn't actually put the, driver's seat on. Okay. Actually, we don't even have an engine on this thing, do we? Oh, that's okay. I'll just put it in the front with everything else. And then we'll get this thing to drive. I don't entirely know how I'm going to handle the, I don't know how I'm going to get this to handle turning that central column. But that's a problem for a different day. A different bot. Well, not a different bot. That's just tomorrow's episode. I got something like kind of weird and special that some people have already told me about, but I don't want to talk about it too hard, just because it'll probably ruin the event. But that's again something for a different day. Yep. I forgot the driver's crown's up here. All right. So humorously, only the base turns. I'll have to have the other parts based on controller. But yeah, it handles pretty well. I mean, it looks like a goofy looking chess piece. And it tips over, which actually is exactly in the plan. These things are not supposed to be the most stable of designs, especially once we get arms and stuff on. We might have to add a little bit of stability. You know, maybe extend the wheels out or do a couple of things. We'll figure that out. But we'll see. One way or another, I will see you guys in the next episode of Scrap Mechanic. And as always, thanks for watching.